My son, David, told me I'm too negative to be around his kids, barring me from seeing my grandkids. Right after I called him out for letting his wife's shady brother move into their basement, a decision I overheard him regret in a whispered phone call. At 64, I'd spent 38 years raising him, bandaging his knees, baking his pies, cheering his dreams, only to stand there, phone shaking in my hand, as he hung up on me, his voice cold with, "Mom, you're toxic," while my heart broke over losing the little ones I'd rocked to sleep. He didn't even soften, just said, "We need space," leaving me staring at a silent line, cut off from the family I'd built. It's a biting March evening in 1986, the wind rattling the loose panes of my drafty apartment. And I'm 26, cradling my newborn David in a rocking chair that creaks with every sway, his tiny wails piercing the air as the radiator clanks uselessly, spitting more noise than heat. His dad, a carpenter with calloused hands, a quick temper, and a wandering soul, walked out when I was 8 months pregnant, his last words a gruff, "I can't do this," as he slung his tool belt over his shoulder and slammed the door. The echo of it still ringing in my ears as I stared at the peeling wallpaper, alone with a baby and a future I couldn't see. I was left with nothing but a part-time cashier job at the corner market, $3 an hour, counting change in a chilly booth, and a stack of bills I hid under a thrift store lamp so David wouldn't see me cry. I fought for him with every ounce of me, picked up double shifts, my apron sagging with nickels and dimes, my sneakers squeaking on linoleum as I dodged cranky customers, my hands trembling as I counted pennies for formula at the end of the night. After dark, I'd stitch his clothes from hand-me-downs, little overalls patched with mismatched squares, my fingers bleeding from late-night needlework under a flickering bulb, his cries a soundtrack to my exhaustion, my eyes burning but locked on his tiny face, those brown eyes staring back like a lifeline. We lived in a sagging rental, the walls so thin I could hear the neighbors' fights, the roof leaking into a bucket by the couch. But I made it a home. Baked his apple pies, his favorite, cinnamon thick and warm. Pushed him on a rusty swing at the park till my arms ached, my voice raw from cheering at his Little League games. His grin under a too big cap lighting up my world like the sun breaking through a storm. By 95, I'd clawed my way up, years of overtime, night classes for a bookkeeping cert with textbooks propped on a folding table, coffee cold by 2 a.m., and bought us a little split-level house, its warped floors and chipped paint a badge of my hustle, a sanctuary I painted blue inside to match his dreams. David was my rock, smart, scrappy, my brown-eyed boy, and I thought that love was a lifeline, woven tight from decades of just us against the grind, a bond no one could snap. He grew up strong, too strong maybe, graduated high school in 2004 with a shy grin under his cap, landed a tech support job at a startup, moved out at 22 to a condo across town with bare walls and a futon he'd scored cheap. I stood in my split level, waving as he drove off in his rattling Ford, proud but hollow, the silence creeping in without his sneakers thumping the stairs, his radio blaring Metallica through the house. I'd visit, arms full of Tupperware, pot roast steaming, apple pie still warm, watching him bloom into a man, his laugh still warming my days like it did when he was 5. Then came Lisa in 2012-25, a nurse with a sharp laugh that cut through a room, her green eyes sharper still, meeting him at a work party where she'd spilled wine on his shirt and won him with a quip. "Mom, she's it," funny, tough, keeps me on my toes. He gushed over pie at my scarred oak table, the one where I'd helped him with fractions, his hands fidgeting with a napkin, excitement sparking in his voice. I liked her, warm, direct, a woman who'd hug you then tell you straight, welcoming her with open arms. Pot roast dinners, her favorite, the kitchen thick with gravy and the clink of forks. David beaming as she praised my cooking with a "Diane, you're a wizard. This beats hospital food any day." Their twins, Mia and Max, came in 15, two squalling bundles of chaos with David's brown eyes and Lisa's fire, and I threw myself into grandma mode with everything I had. Baking oatmeal raisin cookies, their favorite, the house smelling of sugar and love. Knitting blankets in soft blues and pinks, my needles clicking late into the night. Rocking them to sleep with the same lullabies I'd sung to David. Hush, little baby, soft on my lips as their tiny hands gripped my fingers. Weekends, they'd tumble into my split level, crayons scattering across my rug, their giggles filling the quiet David left behind, and I thought, this is it, family, the circle complete. We weren't rich. My bookkeeping gig for a local CPA stretched thin as a worn thread. But we were tied tight by sticky hands, bedtime stories, and a love I'd poured 38 years into, or so I believed, my heart swelling with every Grammy. They shouted as they ran to me. The first ripple of trouble slipped in 3 years ago, soft as a breeze on a still summer day, barely noticeable till it grew claws. It was late August, the air thick with humidity and the drone of cicadas, and David started pulling back, slowly, like a tide easing out. Our Sunday dinners, him sprawled on my plaid couch, a hand-me-down from my mom, twins climbing my legs as I stirred gravy, dwindled to monthly, then rare as a full moon, his texts short and sharp. Work's nuts. Catch you later. He'd skip our traditions. Thanksgiving, where I'd set 3 plates at my table, the turkey cold by 8 p.m. as I waited, the stuffing dry in its dish. Christmas, where their stockings hung empty by my thrift store tree, its lights flickering like my hope, the twins' gifts unopened under the branches. Lisa's swamped. Hospital's a zoo, he'd say, his voice clipped over the phone, her murmurs faint in the background like a ghost I couldn't reach. I'd send cookies, oatmeal raisin, packed in tins with a note, "Love, Grammy." But he'd forget to call back, his "Thanks, Mom" arriving days late, curt as a memo. Kids loved him. I'd sit in my kitchen, tea cold in my chipped mug, the one Max painted with wobbly stars, missing their chaos, the way Mia'd hug my knees, Max's sticky fingers in my hair, blaming myself. Am I too much? Did I lean too hard? After 38 years raising him alone, you don't suspect a rift over a missed meal. You worry, you wait, you bake more, praying their laughter would fill my house again, the silence a weight I couldn't shake. Last spring, the tension sharpened, raw and biting as a winter wind through cracked glass. It was April, rain tapping my roof like a restless finger, the lilacs blooming purple outside my window, when David dropped a bomb over coffee at my table, his hands gripping his mug like it was an anchor. Lisa's brother Chad is moving into our basement, temporary, couple months, he said, his jaw tight, his eyes flicking away. Chad, 32, a drifter with a rap sheet longer than my arm, a guy I'd met once when he'd crashed on my couch 3 years back, reeking of weed and stale beer, asking for a quick $50, with a grin that didn't reach his bloodshot eyes. I frowned, stirring my tea, the spoon clinking too loud in the quiet. Chad's trouble, hun? Remember when he borrowed my toolbox and never brought it back? Watch him around the kids. I warned, voice soft but firm, my nurse's instinct, honed from years of reading people, kicking in. David snapped, first time ever, his voice a whip cracking through my kitchen. Mom, stop it. He's family. Lisa's call, not yours. You're always so damn negative. Lisa chimed in from the counter, her tone cold as ice. We've got it under control, Diane. Back off. My chest tightened. Negative? But I backed down, forced a smile, baked an apple pie to smooth it over, cinnamon thick, the crust golden, dropping it off with a love you that felt hollow as I drove away, the prickle in my gut growing into a thorn I couldn't pull out. A week later, my neighbor Pat, my gossip lifeline, always at the mailbox with a tidbit, whispered over the fence. Saw Chad sneaking out their back door, Diane, middle of the night, bags in hand. Heard he's dealing. Weed, maybe worse. Keep an eye out. My stomach twisted into knots. My grandkids, Mia and Max, sleeping above that. But David's negative stung. So I held my tongue, baking more, waiting for proof, the worry gnawing at me like a dog with a bone. The real jolt hit last month, a muggy September night that still burns in my chest like a brand. I was at their place, David at a late meeting, Lisa on a hospital shift, babysitting Mia and Max, their crayons scattered across my rug like confetti. The kitchen warm with the scent of oatmeal raisin cookies cooling on the counter, their little voices singing Wheels on the Bus off-key as I stirred hot chocolate on the stove. My phone buzzed. David, his name flashing, and I answered, expecting a "Thanks, Mom," but caught him mid-whisper, unaware I'd picked up. Chad's a mess, cops sniffing around, Lisa's blind to it. Mom was right. I should have listened, damn it. My heart stopped. Right? His regret a knife twisting in me. But he didn't know I'd heard, the call cutting to static as he hung up on whoever he'd confessed to. The twins giggled, oblivious, Max smearing chocolate on his cheek, Mia tugging my sleeve. More cookies, Grammy. And I hugged them tight, their warmth a balm on the ache, my mind racing. He knows, but won't say. Next day, I called him, voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. David, I heard you. Chad's trouble. Get him out. For Mia and Max. He exploded, his voice a storm breaking over the line, thunder in every word. Mom, you're too negative, always judging, always poking. Lisa's pissed. You're toxic around the kids, dragging us down. Toxic. Me, who'd raised him alone, who'd bandaged his knees, baked his pies, rocked his babies? I heard you, David. You regret it. You said I was right. I snapped, tears burning my eyes. He roared back. You're delusional? Eavesdropping now? Stay out of it. Click. Line dead. My hand shaking as I gripped the phone. The twins' laughter fading in my memory like a song I couldn't hold on to. The split levels quiet swallowing me whole. The weeks after were a slow, suffocating bleed, a fog I couldn't claw through. 2 days later, he called again, voice flat, final. Mom, you're out. No more visits. You're too negative for Mia and Max, too toxic for us. We need space. Don't call. Don't come by. I stood there in my kitchen, phone trembling in my hand, the mug of tea I'd poured crashing to the floor, shards scattering like my heart. 38 years shattering in a single breath. My boy, my grandkids, ripped away over Chad, over truth I dared to speak. David, I just want them safe. I choked, but he'd already hung up, the dial tone a cold slap. I waited, days stretching into weeks. No apologies, no mom. I overreacted. Just silence. My calls bouncing to voicemail, his laugh mocking me. Leave a message! I'd drive by their street, slow, headlights off, seeing their lights glow, Max's tricycle on the lawn, Mia's fairy wings by the door, but never stopping, never welcome. Pat whispered updates. Chad's still there. Cops circled last week. David's a wreck. My pie sat uneaten, my knitting needle still. The twins' blankets folded in a box. 38 years of love, and I'd lost them to his pride. Lisa's denial, Chad's filth. Then came the twist that flipped the script, bright and fierce as a flare in the dark. A week later, my old friend Sue, a bank clerk with a hawk's eye, called at dawn. Her voice hushed over the line like she'd struck oil. Diane, just check the records. Your son's house? That split level you co-signed the loan for in 15 when they bought it? Your name's still on the deed. Joint ownership, worth $500,000 now with the market boom. Chad's crashing there, trashing it, and David's pushing to sell. But he can't close a damn thing without your signature. Not Lisa's, not his. I laughed, wild, ragged, a sound that bounced off my blue walls, rattling the teapot on my stove, the broken mug still swept into a corner. You're sure? I pressed, gripping the phone till my knuckles ached, my pulse racing like it hadn't in decades. Dead sure, Sue said, a grin creeping into her voice. They're clueless. Think it's all theirs. Don't know you're the gatekeeper. I hung up, fire surging through me like a wildfire. David had cut me off, branded me toxic, barred me from my grandkids, but I held a power he couldn't touch, a key he didn't know I owned. I called my lawyer that morning, voice steady as steel, though my hands shook with the weight of it. They want me out? Fine. I'm in deeper now, and they're not moving a brick till I say so. I hired Ellen, top real estate shark in town, a widow like me who lived for justice. Her office a war room of files and fight, the air thick with coffee and determination. She dug in like a bloodhound, and the dirt spilled out in a flood. Chad was dealing, weed confirmed, pills suspected, cops circling their block, neighbors complaining of late-night traffic, David hiding it, whispering to Lisa it was under control, her enabling him with, he's family, the basement a wreck, pipes busted, walls stained, slashing the house's value while they bickered over selling. Ellen traced it back, David's signature on a shady loan against the house, $30,000 gone to repairs that Chad pocketed, Lisa blind or complicit, their marriage fraying under the strain. Ellen froze the sale with a court order, faster than you can say deadbeat, filed a claim to protect my stake, half the house, my legal right, and slapped David with a notice. Co-owner consent required, my name in bold. He didn't see it coming, thought he'd silenced me with toxic, thought he'd buried me with that hang-up, his pride a shield I'd pierced with a pen. He called 2 days later, roaring over the line, his voice a storm breaking. Mom, what the hell? You can't block our sale. This is our house, our life. I stepped onto my porch, the evening air cool against my skin, cool as ice despite the tremble in my hands, the crickets humming a chorus behind me as I gripped the railing. My house, too, David. $500,000 you can't touch without my signature. Call me toxic again, or fix your mess. Get Chad out, and maybe I'll sign. Your choice. He sputtered, voice cracking with rage, his tech cool crumbling. You're insane, Mom. Lisa's losing it. You're ruining us over nothing. You're ruined by him. I shot back, low and lethal, my eyes fixed on the horizon. Where's Mia? Max? Where's the son I raised? Silence, then a click. his breath gone, the line dead, his bluster folding like a house of cards. Lisa called next, voice shrill. "Diane, back off! You're tearing us apart!" I hung up, first time ever, her words bouncing off me, my resolve steel. Word spread through town like wildfire. Pat at the mailbox, whispering, "Chad bolted, cops raided, found his stash. David's a wreck, Lisa's in denial." Ellen's evidence hit their inbox. Loan docs, Chad's rap sheet, my claim. David reeling, Lisa crumbling as the truth sank in. I didn't call. Couldn't. My heart too bruised. But I sold my share through Ellen, cashed out $250,000. Bought a cottage by the lake, its cedar walls a fresh start. The water's rush drowning out the silence David left. Took myself to Italy with the leftovers. Pasta warm in my hands, the Colosseum glowing gold, healing in every bite, every step. They're out there, David, Lisa, the twins, maybe waking up to the wreckage, maybe still lost in it, Chad's shadow fading. It hurt. 38 years don't fade without a fight. Mia's Grammy. And Max's hugs still echoing in my dreams. Their blankets still folded in my closet. But I wasn't negative, wasn't toxic, wasn't the outcast he'd branded me. I was Diane, 64 and fierce, sipping espresso by the Tiber, starting over with a heart too scarred to break again, but too strong to bow. He thought he'd silence me with his words, bar me with his pride, but I roared back, louder, bolder, undeniable. My love a force he couldn't erase. So here I am, months later, watching the lake from my cottage, wondering what's next. David's out there, maybe with Lisa, maybe alone. The twins are growing, and I'm strong, but scarred. Some nights I wonder, did I save them or just myself? Could he call, begging forgiveness? And if he did, would I answer or let it ring? I don't know yet. And maybe that's okay. What do you think? Should a woman like me ever soften? Or is this where I stand firm, no regrets? Tell me your take.